and welcome to this week's edition of EHI TV. I'm Shanna Crispin and this is eHealth Insider's Essential News on Video. As we all know, in September the Department of Health announced the accelerated dismantling of the National Programme for IT in the NHS. At the same time, it announced a new partnership with Intellect, and 2 weeks later it published a draft plan for how the two bodies were going to work together to create a vibrant healthcare IT marketplace. The consultation on that plan has now closed, and with me to talk about the results is Peter Dyke, Connecting for Health's Head of Industry Liaison. Welcome, Peter.
Hi, Shanna.
First of all, can you give us a bit of an overview about what the plan set out to do?
Yeah, the plan recognises that customers and suppliers are working together to deliver benefits to patients in this market and health professionals. And actually, the more closely we work together, the more effectively we're going to be able to deliver to patients in the NHS. So the plan was put together to recognise that actually we both need each other, we both need to work together, and we've both got part of the answer to the whole problem. And my background was on the supplier side of the market anyway. I used to be a former chair of Intellect, so it's quite obvious to work with them together, to work with the suppliers and customers together to do that. So that's what we're trying to achieve in the plan.
So what sort of response have you had? What have people been saying about what the benefits they want to see from this partnership?
We've had a really good response. Basically, the responses have been broadly in the line of, yeah, excellent, really glad to see everyone working together on this. In fact, many of the comments are beyond saying this is really good, thanks very much for doing it, we support it, have then just moved straight on to the, okay, if you're going to think about information governance, which is a part of the plan, or information or standards, etc., can you please think about this detail? So the input has been about levels of detail which we'll then pick up in the plan, and actually that'll form part of the delivery. So when we get round to publishing the revised version of this plan later in the month, the number of actual changes people will see at that level are very, very minimal, and then we get into the detail of actually delivering it over the next few months and years.
Okay. Now there's also mention in the plan about the DH using Intellect as it draws up the information strategy.
Yes.
What specifically are you looking for in that?
Well, what we wanted to do is, as we're in the process of engaging about the information strategy prior to publication next year, we wanted to make sure that we started the discussion at an earlier stage than perhaps we've done in the past, of making sure that what we're thinking is sort of realistic, is going to work, and start to do those tests and have the face-to-face sort of dialogue with people, experts in the industry themselves put forward to represent the sort of views.
So what is it specifically that Intellect is bringing to these discussions that you may not have had previously?
I think it's bringing the expertise of the entire supplier community together in a, shall I say, a representative way. Intellect maybe doesn't represent all suppliers that are out there, but it represents a large number. There are experts within there that we can consult with, that are easily brought together through that format. We're trying to make it as inclusive an engagement as possible, and that does seem to be working so far. Okay,
so it's not just about the information strategy. What else is Intellect going to be involved in, and what are the steps from here for putting that in place?
Well, working on the information strategy was one of the first pieces that we wanted to hit, so that's sort of underway, which is good. The other key parts of the plan were there were certain areas where we could agree that we both needed to work on. And so what we did is we highlighted those because there were areas of joint interest. There's bound to be places that we disagree on, but we've got enough to focus on to start with. The key areas that we wanted to work on together were working together to get senior management across the NHS excited in investing in the benefits of information technology. We jointly felt that there was an argument that both sides of the informatics profession, supplier side and NHS side, perhaps hadn't made as successfully in the past as we wanted to. Clearly going forward, if the NHS senior management in terms of running healthcare systems can't embrace and benefit from information technology, that won't benefit either side. So we wanted to work on that together. The other area of common interest that we focused on was the whole area of standards, setting requirements, accreditation against standards, of getting that process more effective from the whole start of thinking about what standards are, right through to delivering them at scale across the NHS. The process currently takes too long, sometimes we gold plate things too much, and we can both see that there's a point in spending our efforts on doing that more wisely. And then the third area, which obviously is probably always going to come up, is procurement. We do recognise that some of the procurement vehicles and routes we go through are perhaps too onerous. We need to provide a mechanism for smaller, more nimble, more effective organisation to be able to engage with NHS counterparts and try and find a way through cracking that, so it's not just big complex contracts that sort of separate customers and suppliers of the whole process of procurement, which can take months or years, to actually engaging on delivering things that work in the long term and thinking about how we do that.
So end of the month we'll have a published final plan as to how this will go forward? End
of the month is our next publication, which will include an update on where we are so far in delivering against the information strategy work first off. We're then, under the plan, we are then charging individuals both on the Intellect Health Council side and within Department of Health Informatics to lead on the individual strands of the plan, to generate their own plans and detailed delivery things for the next year, and then those will be published by March.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
That's all we've got time for this week, but be sure to catch EHI TV's last ever 2011 edition next week, where I'll be wrapping up the year with EHI's Managing Editor Lynn Whitfield.